Hey guys, welcome back to another Book 8 Malevolence review, brought to you by Bad Tabletop Gaming. I'm joined here with Andy and Alex again, and my name's Bill, and we're going to be going through Demons of the Ruinstorm army list. Leading right into the book, this army list is pretty intense. There's a lot of crazy things that are coming out of this section. To start it off, I guess we can talk a little bit about the converting potential with it. There's no real set structure of models or plans that they're going to be releasing. It lets you pretty much use whatever you want. It's kind of like Build-A-Bear with Games Workshop models, whatever you want, basically. Much. It does have a section talking about base sizes and where they kind of fall in ranking for upgrades and stuff later in the section. Just based on that, what do you guys think about, I guess, the converting potential of the army?
Well, you're going to see a lot of crazy models, I think, for sure. And just with the equipment and whatnot, some of the stuff you'll see in the book, you'll see the different types of I guess, chaos gods and whatnot, right? So when people are coming out with their conversion, it's going to be epic, I think, for sure.
Yeah, I think, honestly, the potential there is to use the entirety of Games Workshop's range, the Forge World range, multiple third parties, if you're not at a Games Workshop tournament still. Yeah. But it's huge potential, and I think it allows people to kind of have been sitting on the fringes waiting for demons who have always been in the fluff to actually play a role. And still gives them some kind of new, fresh rule set that's not attached to that 7th edition mindset. This is new. This is a completely new army with its own new set, and it's got all these opportunities for modeling as well as a part of it.
Yeah, no, definitely agree. Definitely. Some of the pretty interesting rules that I noticed right off the bat is just the deployment opportunity. So when you're parting the veil or the real space tear, if you're running your demons in a primary detachment, you get 3 5-inch pretty much blast markers is what they talk about in the book to count as your deployment spots. These have to be set up at least 12 inches away from the enemy and at least 6 inches from a table edge. Kind of sounds like an objective. And you can't put it in any terrain passable, anything like that.
The warp rifts.
Yeah. Once deployed, no enemy unit can be deployed within 12 inches during the deployment or infiltrators. And once you start your turn, all your demons come on from those points around the table, which is pretty cool, considering how quick you can close the distance. And just with some of these unit types that are coming out, they're just pretty tough to take down first turn. It also talks about a little bit about the converting or modeling potential of these. Like I'm thinking personally of cutting those 5-inch styrofoam balls in half and having like a dome all swirling and airbrushed with all these different energies and stuff. You can even try and go hardcore and paint like swirling faces or whatever to try and
they're just the
make them look cool.
Warp riffs that the demons are coming from, right? It'll be pretty neat to see what people come up with for that.
Yeah,
kind of stuff.
Definitely.
It also gives you a crazy aggressive deployment, like. More so than even, you're still rolling. There's some ways around the rolling to come in for reserves, but there's lots of the big heavy hitters in the book are showing up turn 1, right on your deployment step, your enemy's deployment zone, and it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough when you've got 3 multiples. You can kind of cover the whole board. You can respond to objectives. You can respond to enemy deployment. It's a pretty strong deployment plan.
Oh, definitely, sure, definitely. Some of the cool rules with the Tides of Madness, your army gains benefits depending on what turn it is, or negatives as the game goes on. So Tides of Madness, turns 1 and 2, your demons will get +1 toughness and +1 strength, which is amazing, to say the least. Turns 3 to 4, nothing really happens. Turns 5 to 6, -1 strength, -1 toughness. Turn 7, like if you're getting to that crunch final turn, -2 toughness, -2 strength, which I think that'll hurt a little bit, but if you play your cards right, you may not get that far. Hopefully you can kind of end the game before the 5-6 area, because that's when you're going to start to feel a little bit of the pinch.
I think with that, it's kind of also showing that maybe it's in-game or fluff-wise, it's showing that demons might be losing power the longer they're in the universe, right? So
losing their grip on reality.
Yeah, exactly. So it's definitely different compared to what we've seen with other armies and whatnot.
Oh,
the whole army will be completely different. So
yeah.
Good.
Make no mistake. This army list will turn Horus Heresy and just like drop it right on its head. It's going to change the whole way I think a lot of armies are played. A lot of the consoles and stuff in Book 8 are going to really be brought into use. There's a lot of anti-psych or anti-demon things in here. I just think this is going to be huge for the whole meta for Horus Heresy.
Something we haven't talked about yet here is the Psi Arcana as well.
Yeah.
Like there's a general push to have the Psi Arcana be accepted. And I think when looking at the Psi Arcana, it's a more friendly version than like the previous Legion special items list,
right.
And it gives you specific answers to a lot of these questions here posed by this army.
Yeah, definitely.
The other thing that just to cover here on this page is that it does redefine the Ruinstorm Perils of the Warp table.
Yeah.
Specifically for demons, they have their own Perils of the Warp table.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that quick?
Yeah, go ahead, yeah.
So, effectively, when you do suffer Perils of the Warp, you just roll a d6. So 1 is obviously the worst. Weapon skill, ballistic skill, initiative is reduced by 1 until the controlling player's next turn, and suffering d3 automatic wounds with no saves of any kind, including feel no pain rolls. If this occurs in the psychic phase, casting a spell, for example, then the phase ends immediately, and all remaining warp charges are discarded. So that's pretty huge. It's not just, you don't just take the wounds and everything like you would as a normal psychic. Actually, your whole magic phase effectively ends.
Don't roll 1.
Yeah.
It's bad.
So 2 through 5, pretty similar. You get D3. You don't have that -1 ballistic skill weapon skill, but you do D3 automatic wounds, no saves, including feel no pains. Again, if this occurs during the psychic phase, D3 plus 1 wounds is inflicted. And then finally, the 6 is a warp bloom. So the models ballistic skill, weapon skill, and initiative is actually increased by 1. In addition, this result occurs during the psychic phase. Roll D3. The demon of the Ruinstorm player gains that number of warp charges equal to that, which is a nice balance compared to the 7th edition rules where you would just get D6 models back. Yeah. This gives you, it's not, again, I think they've pulled away from that whole summoning in 7th edition and given them something new, and this kind of gives that Tzeentch a little bit more kick in the warp charge phase, throw more spells out.
Oh yeah,
nice.
Definitely.
What's nice is at least if you are getting those benefits of generating more dice, you can kind of keep the psychic phase rolling. Yeah. So yeah, roll 6s, never roll 1s, and you'll be okay.
Solid tips from Bill Bonko. Tactical tips.
No doubt. Moving forward, we're going to talk about the Emanations of Horror. These are pretty much upgrades for every unit in the book. They're very similar to the old school version of the Tyranid upgrades from Warhammer back in the day. They break down the army list into 3 different brackets. Each bracket gives you a specific point cost of the upgrades you can take. So bracket 1, Ruinstorm Demon Brutes, Lesser Demons, Beasts, Swarms, and Cavalry. Bracket 2, Demon Lords, Greater Demons, Demon Shrike, and Demon Chosen. And then bracket 3 is Greater Ruinstorm Demon Beast and Demon Behemoth. Going through some of these, general point values is between 3 and 5. For bracket 2, it usually doubles up to like 10 to 15. And then the third bracket, it's kind of all over the place. Some are 15, some go up to 25. It really kind of depends on which ones you're picking. We can go over some of them just because there's tons of detail and tons of content in this section. Like you can pretty much customize and build your squads to perform any specific role you're looking for. I know you're dying to talk about a certain build if you'd like to go into it a little bit.
Well, yeah, like there's just so many. This is like truly the Build-A-Bear of Warhammer.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like we could. Do you want to just start at the top list and
sure? Yeah, we
touch on a few points.
Can touch on a few of them.
So one thing to note is with these emanations that certain ones are available to the certain Dominions,
Yeah.
right? So just keep that in mind once you go through some of these.
And so to kind of break that up too, you've got you still have the four gods of chaos. You still have the Khorne, Sanish, Nurgle, and Tzeentch, but they also have their own emanations that are typically cheaper in cost if you choose their dominion. So when we touch on them here, they'll be a little bit cheaper in cost, and they'll have like a specific emanation that they got to be tied to effectively.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So first one, Demonic Wings.
Yeah, well, the big one. Like, there's Lord of Sorcery, but that's kind of generic. Like, you get Psychic Mastery levels, stuff like that. The Demonic Wings one is the one that stands out as huge. But I know that's your baby. So
Yeah.
check it out.
So you basically, for 5 points on a smaller base, 25 points on a bigger base, you do get Jump Pack Infantry or Jump Monsters creature. For smaller infantry, on up to a 40 mil base, to give them 5 points to give them Jump Infantry is pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. And then it combos very well with kind of some of the other ones. Like the next one is Crushing Claws. Unit will gain Rending for another 5 points. And then Flensing Talons, 3 points. The unit gains Shred special rule. So just off the top, you could have a flying unit for additional 13 points. They have Shred, Rending, and Flying, or Jump Pack. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
When we get to the units and the unit costs, you'll see like I think some of the unit costs that are built in so that they expect you to take a few of these.
Yeah.
Definitely, but they're pretty cheap.
Yeah, they are.
So some of the smaller demons, to add 13 points to it, they're still not a big point cost model.
No.
And you get a pretty big beat stick for that value, I think.
Yeah, definitely agree. You will notice, as we touch base in the later sections about the point cost, if you go all out on some of these upgrades, your unit costs will grow exponentially. It's not uncommon to probably drop on a 310-man squad up to like 600 points if you're pumping them out like with max upgrades. Some of the other ones that really stood out for me was like a Rift Barb, 3 points on your regular generic demons. It's a range 12-inch, it's strength user +2. So, on a base 4 strength model, turn 1 he's getting +1, so he's strength 5. So he's strength 7, AP 3, assault 1, armor bane. Comboing that up with the wings, you're getting some pretty crazy abilities. Like but you can combo all day long. There's so many, like
really
so
effectively
many.
with flight, deep strike, flight, and that you have a 24-inch threat range of AP3 shooting.
Yeah,
like even again from your smaller
rift.
Space. Yeah, from your rift. Yeah, which is in their deployment zone.
Yeah, and these are just on basic dudes, right? Like strength 7 armor bane is nothing to sneeze at at all. Yeah. There's just a ton. Warp Skilled Hide, for instance, too. Like, it's 5 points on your regular dudes. It bumps up your armor to 3+. Do
you want to maybe go through like the specific Dominion based ones?
Yeah, we should definitely.
Your favorite ones first.
Yeah, Creeping Scourge, my favorite. It's Nurgle style. That's the Miasma of Rot. 3, 10, 15 essentially for the brackets. Basically, enemy units locked in combat with this squad, with this upgrade, reduce its toughness by -1. If it has an armor value instead of a toughness, it decreases all armor facings by 1, which is pretty awesome. It doesn't stack if you have multiple units with this, and it doesn't affect the instant death characteristic, but still, if you're able to, bring Custodes units down to toughness 4, or even Marines down to toughness 3, it helps a lot.
Contemptors down on armor value?
Yeah, Contemptors to armor 12 in the front, or
pretty
whatever in the rear. Like, it can be really good to combo up with. Definitely something to look at, depending on what flavor you want to run. Next, I know, is up your alley for sure.
So for the Khorne one, you get Brass Collars. Brass Collars are it gives you a 3+ armor save flat, which is usually +1. Most demons are 4-up armor save base, and they gain the Adamantium Will special rule for 5 points on a smaller and 10 points for a larger model. That's pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good value.
So effectively turning your toughness 4, strength 4 base demons into Marines, because it gives them a 3-up save.
Yeah.
Then we also have Stupefying Musk, and pretty much unit charged or locked in combat with the unit that has this will have to make a morale check and be in any of the fight phases. And if they fail, then they have to reduce their initiative by 1 for that phase. So it's okay. It's not one of the greater ones, but
not one of the best, no. But still, every little bit helps. Like, you know, these guys are rocking initiative 4, dropping them to 3. It does help with some of your bigger models because they tend to be a little slower.
Right.
It's pretty decent. Warp Scions. This is the Zenichi style one. Pretty much you gain Brotherhood of Psychers, Mastery level 1. You're able to use Smite, Flame Breath, Assail, Psychic Shriek. These are kind of coming up later. You have to choose this at the beginning of the game. You can't change it at all after that, so you're kind of locked into that power. 3 points, though, if you're really wanting to add a little bit of flair / gaining some more power warp charges in your army. Could be helpful.
Yeah, this thing, really, it only applies to the smaller base, so it's got to be on a 40 mil or less model.
Yeah.
But it does give you, your Psychic Shriek and Smite and Flame Breath, on those siege units that have it.
Yeah.
You can model, basically give them those powers. Seriously, this is going to be a big one. I honestly think that, because having Flame Breath and Smite and Psychic Shriek on that many models, with all the other stacking abilities you have, also giving more pool or dice to the pool effectively for a Zinch army is going to be big. Multiple small units, like with Warp Sign, 3 points is cheap.
Yeah.
To add to it, and that's a lot of bodies with invulnerable saves that are adding to that pool of dice that you're going to have.
Yeah.
So
for sure. Yeah. Yeah. It's there's a lot of potential with these comboing up builds to get some just amazing flavor in your army. Not to mention, still like fairly, I guess, strong / competitive choices as well. Just to like hammer that mark home, it's gonna be great. Some of the other things in here, some that like really kind of push out to me, like Shroud of Darkness. It's a 5 point for your regular 40 mil or less. It's kind of cool. Models charging a unit don't get bonus attacks from charging. It's not bad. It's pretty much like having boarding shields, essentially. Defensive grenades. It can help if you want to kind of get that longevity, or if you just want to throw that unit forward to try and soak as much wounds as you can, or tie a unit in combat. There's just a lot. Like,
I think the general comment here is that if you had a special rule that you wanted to give to a unit to affect its survivability or offense power, this kind of gives it to you.
Yeah.
If you want fleet, it'll give you fleet. If it wants you an assault weapon, it'll give you assault weapon. If you want a smash attack, it'll give you a smash attack. Rending, it has all options there to build your units how you want to fit whatever role you want them to fit effectively.
Agreed.
Yeah, different special rules in there. I mean, you got stuff like Sundering Fangs, pretty much, forgo your attack to make one attack at double your strength. So that's kind of your
like a smash attack.
Yeah, exactly right. And then
you want flamers? We got flamers.
Yeah, that's for sure.
We got shooting. We want shooting.
There's a lot of good stuff in there, and it looks like it'll be quite fun for people building their armies out of this as well, right? So
we should talk about that, because we kind of in our excitement at the beginning, we talked all about how there's so much modeling that you can do.
Yeah,
but with this, please make it very clear to your opponents, because there's so many options here, and so many abilities to build, and because there's no effectively like this is the unit that has this ability, you got to make it clear.
Yeah, agreed. As much, I guess, clarity for your opponent, because they're going to be looking at a table full of new models. Every unit can have stacked multiples of the same or completely different rules. If they're all modeled the same, it's going to be really hard and frustrating to play against. So yeah, that's the best thing, is model them how you want to model them, but make sure when you can have some sort of visual representation to show what you're modeling them with. It'll make for less arguments in a game, and it'll be just a funner game for you and the opponent, because rolling into a game with you have no idea what unit does what, It's like, oh well, yeah, didn't you know they fly and but they don't have wings, but the guys with wings they don't fly. It just try and make it as streamlined as possible for your opponents, because I think that's the biggest thing is we both parties want to enjoy the game. So yeah, keep that in mind. It does have a little bit of a note in there at the beginning, like be very, very specific of what you build. Build whatever you want, but just try and make sure everyone knows what it is.
And you're definitely going to see some crazy looking builds and armies.
Yeah.
I mean, your lesser demons are going to probably look completely different to my lesser demons, right?
Yeah.
So, but like the guys said here, streamline everything, make sure everybody knows what's what. We're all good?
Yeah, awesome. Going to be continuing on to the Etheric Dominions, all the different Chaos God marks. Andy, if you want to kick it off.
Okay, so with these Etheric Dominions, you're able to select one of the Dominions and applies to the whole detachment of the Demons of the Ruinstorm. And your allied demons that can also select a Dominion, but they can't use the Warlord trait that's applied to those specific Dominions or the special objective victory point conditions as well that you can pick. So we'll start with the Resplendent Terror. They are allowed to select Emanations of Hate, and they have a Warlord trait that they can generate any one Etheric Dominion Warlord trait. So from any, I believe, from any of the tables. So it's kind of your generic Dominion. They also can replace the primary objectives of the mission with End of Days. So pretty much what it is each enemy unit destroyed is removed from play and forced to flee from the battlefield. The Demons of the Ruinstorm will score 1 victory point. So it's pretty much kill everything you can on the board, right?
Yeah.
So
Solid mission plan.
yeah, pretty much. That's all they
Isn't
care
that the
about,
mission
right?
all the time? I thought that's how it
Yeah,
always is.
no, that's true. It's true. Going forward, we'll go to the next one. Let Alex talk about that one.
So this one is Crimson Fury. It would be the Khorne detachment special rule. So first of all, you get as a general rule, all demons that are in squads of more than 3 to 5 gain the Rage special rule. So +2 attacks on the charge. If it's a single model, such as a flying monstrous creature, gargantuan creature, they'll gain the Rampage rule. So effectively, you're getting +2 attacks for the whole army, or D3 attacks for your big characters. On top of that, they have some. The downside is that you always have to make a charge or attempt to make a charge if you're within 12 inches at the start of the assault phase. The bonus here is that the unit can take the Brass Collars Emanation, Brass Collars of Khorne, which is the 3-up save that you get. And your Warlord may choose from the Warlord Traits table here. So effectively how this works is you'll just roll a d6. So if you pick a Dominion attached to a specific power or god, you get to roll on this Warlord Traits table, and you can also choose to have the victory conditions apply to your detachment. So the first one is the Skullkeeper. So Warlord friendly unit with the Demon of the Ruinstorm special rule within 6 the Warlord may add D3 to the wounds value when calculated to see if they win the combat phase. Pretty sick.
Yeah.
The Aegis of Rage. Any unit, each time this Warlord or a friendly unit with the Demon of the Ruinstorm special rule within 12 is targeted by a psychic power, the Warlord may attempt to deny the Witch. If they were a Psyker, as if they were a Psyker or have a higher mastery level than the Psyker manifesting the power. Effectively, what this does gives you a free Deny the Witch, even though you don't really have any casters if you choose this. On a 5 to 6, whenever this Warlord declares a charge, he may roll a dice number equal to the number of attacks and pick the 2 highest. So, like when you get into like the Kabanda, Samus, Greater Demons, 6 attacks, you're rolling 6 dice and picking the highest 2 to make your charge. It's almost a guaranteed charge.
Yeah,
it's pretty sick.
Pretty powerful.
That's awesome.
So your special VPs that you get for this is that your conditions, I guess, are that if you destroy a unit in combat, are destroyed in combat, or destroy a unit from sweeping attacks, or destroyed from Overwatch, you get a victory point. So basically, you get a victory point for attacking someone, being killed by someone, or trying to attack someone, or trying, killed on the way in to attack someone.
That's awesome.
So all assault based, effectively.
That is wicked.
And it's 1 VP for all of them. So you get, every time you lose a unit, that's a victory point. Every time you kill a unit, it's a victory point.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what blood spilled.
That's right.
Yeah. Corn doesn't care.
Corn doesn't care.
Awesome. I'm going to be going over the Creeping Scourge, aka Nurgle. Pretty much Mark. So one thing I really like about this one is all models in the detachment gain the Feel No Pain 5+ special rule, which is pretty sweet. Any of the monstrous creatures, the flying monstrous, gargantuan, instead get It Will Not Die. Equally, just as good. I really like them. One of the, if you want to call it, the drawbacks is when you are making run moves or sweeping advances, you end up rolling 2d6 and you pick the lowest, just to show that they're slower, a little bit, bulkier, but that's okay. We can live with that. The nice thing is that you can take the Miasma of Rot Emanation if they consist of multiple, if your squads consist of multiple models, then all models in the unit have to take that upgrade, which is still fine because it's -1 toughness and -1 armor facing. You're going to take it all the time. I will anyways. Nice thing going over the Warlord Traits. Same thing, roll a d6. Broken down. 1 to 2, it's Blightwalker. Essentially, all friendly demon models within 6 inches are considered to always roll a 6 when called upon to make difficult terrain and dangerous terrain tests. So they just blob over it, they don't really care. 3 to 4, Monolith of Rot. Warlord may reroll all Feel No Pain or It Will Not Die rolls. I like that one. Keeps him alive longer. And then 5 to 6, it's Pestilent Cloud. All units within 3 inches of the Warlord at the end of any subphase that don't have the Demon special rule suffer D6, Strength 2, no AP hits. These hits and any casualties, they don't count towards combat resolution, but it's just basically the aura of flies and clouds and stench and whatever is affecting them, choking them up. Nice thing about this also, for your objectives to score your VPs, you can use this as Torment Without End. So at the end of the game, after the final game turn has been played, the Demons of the Ruinstorm player gains 2 victory points for every table quarter that a Warp Rift marker is in it, with no enemy units within 6 inches of it, and you have to have at least 1 friendly demon unit within 6 inches of it. So when you're going and deploying this army, you get 3 markers, 3 Warp Rift markers, that you can deploy around the board. So you can, right off the bat, you can deploy in 3, push into the enemy's deployment zone really hard, and just keep your lesser little pleb units around them and score those points pretty much all game if he can't pull you off because he's dealing with the greater demon in his face. I really like that one. I think it's cool.
Kind of gives you control of
your
objectives, right? With those rifts, right? It's the way you place them, and then just tactically how you maneuver your units and where you set them up. So
definitely pretty sweet. Being a Nurgle fan, I'm looking forward to using these ones. So
the other thing too that what this does, and the same thing with we'll talk about the other ones too, is it kind of changes the balance of the game. So when you're playing a demon player, you're not only going to have the primary objectives that you have in the mission, score this, kill this, do that. On top of that, the demon player won't have any of those objectives. He'll have his own objectives. Yeah. So we won't be if you've got objective middle of the table and the corner that you got to control. You might have a Khorne player who doesn't care about those. Or you might have a Nurgle player who's got his own objectives that you not only have to control these, but you got to challenge him on the other objectives too. It changes the dynamic of kind of the competitive play a little bit to say that you're not always it's not a mirror match all the time.
No,
but actually differing objectives depending on who you're playing, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it'll be quite interesting. I think moving forward, in the games, should make for some interesting matchups. Anyways,
it's gonna freshen up the fights, right?
That's right. Yeah.
We also got Lurid Onslaught, and I think this one is Slaanesh.
Yeah.
So All the models in the detachment will get hit and run special rule. That could be a good one for them. That's kind of their style. No unit that's part of this army, though, will benefit from cover saves, except for whatever's gets Jink, pretty much, essentially, in the army. They also get, for this detachment, they'll get the Stupefying Musk Emanation. If the units consists of like multiple models, then they'll all have to take this upgrade. So, and then the Demon Lords with the Dominion, they get to roll on the traits, of course, like every other one. And the ones that we have here are Inhuman Grace. So when you're fighting in a challenge against a model with a higher initiative than what you have, you can increase your initiative equal to theirs. So I think that's pretty good. Like that gives you that fighting leveling chance against whatever else might have a higher initiative, right? I think they'll probably have a usual high initiative anyways, but we'll see what happens when we go through the units here. Also, the other trait, Flickering Gate. So the Warlord and the friendly unit with the Demon of the Ruinstorm special rule within 6 inches, they don't roll when choosing to run in the shooting phase, but instead they'll always move the maximum amount possible. So that's an instant.
Yeah.
6-inch, 12-inch run.
Yeah.
Pretty good. And
I have a feeling that there's going to be a fair bit of cavalry in this style army. And we also have Lopping Charge. So the Warlord and friendly unit again, with Demon of the Ruinstorm special rule, within 6 will add +1 distance move to making a charge in the assault phase to a maximum charge distance of 13. So
it's pretty nice.
Again, more movement bonuses. So high speed with initiative stuff, and then just gain max rolls, and even the bonus of +1. It's pretty good. And for their victory conditions that they can pick out, it's a Twisted Dream. So the Demons of the Runestone player scores 1 victory point whenever an enemy fails a morale check. And this does not include tests made of regrouping, but does include pinning and fear tests, and checks made due to Stupefying Musk of Emanation. So get some points there. However, the enemy unit that succeeds any of these checks due to a result of insane heroism, don't really see that too often, but it's out there, you will reduce the number of victory points the demon player will get by D3 points. Oof. So yeah, it's pretty big. I mean, if it comes up a few times,
double ones, especially when your whole goal is to try and force them into as many tests as possible.
It's bound to happen.
Bound to happen. In that one game where you need it.
And I think we'll see. I think later on there's some stuff that modifies a lot of maybe morale or leadership tests. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, no doubt. Wow.
Yeah. So next one is Maddening Swarms. Obviously, this is the Tzeentch Dominion. So first of all, it does the general rule is you get an extra emanation. So if the unit character says you can say take 2 or 3, you get to add 1 to that. So again, adds just more of that changeling, multiple abilities aspect to the army. It also adds this kind of downside, though, is that you have to always be manifesting psychic powers if you can. And the downside is if in one round a unit does not use that psychic power, chooses not to use a psychic power, they then have to take double the amount of morale checks in a game. Mm-hmm. So the exact wording is that must roll an extra dice for all morale checks and leadership for the remainder of the game, and the 2 highest dice rolled are used to calculate the test. So it vastly increases your chance of failing morale checks for that unit. Yeah, so you always want to be using as many powers as possible.
But doing that would, with the previous rule there on the Perils of the Warp,
yeah, if you roll
you're
one,
able to get more dice as well for casting.
That's right. Yeah.
So could be a quite interesting little fix for this specific.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, and you're. It is, like I said, it's a plus, a bonus, and a negative.
Yeah.
I think the negative in this case is pretty rough.
Yeah.
Because what I'm worried about is you do have a lot of the psychic powers. Like if you choose Smite and you're just not within range to cast that, you do kind of you're a little stuck on what you can do that turn. So I would be a little bit worried about that. So just each players out there. So the other thing is any unit that consists of more than one unit may take the Warp Science Emanation, and that is that Brotherhood of Psychers ability. Yeah. So the HQ Warlord traits are Font of Madness on a 1/2. Each psychic phase, the Warlord generates warp charges equal to its mastery level +1. So if the Warlord doesn't have a mastery level, it just generates D3 warp charges to add to that general pool that you have that we talked about earlier. Etheric Lightning Rod is a 3/4 roll. For each unit with the Psyker's special rule within 6 of this Warlord during a given assault phase, that unit gains additional attack in close combat. Not a bad buff.
Not bad, no.
And on a 5/6, the Oracle of Chaos. When making any rolls to determine which friendly reserves arrive in play for which table edge friendly outflanking units arrive on, the dice may be re-rolled while this Warlord is both alive and deployed on the table. So it gives you your re-roll to reserves and re-roll to the outflanking special rule for which table edge you come in on.
That's not bad
That's
either.
Pretty good as well, yeah. So the VP conditions here are that Warp Camouflage, each enemy unit destroyed, removed from play, or forced to flee the table as the result of a psychic power or wounds caused by a psychic power scores 1 victory point for the Demons, the Ruinstorm. In addition, if 4 or more warp charge points were allocated to a power that destroys or otherwise removes a unit from play, it scores 1 additional VP. So effectively, if you're 5 dicing someone and you kill a unit with it and it removes from play, it's 2 VP, which is
pretty nice.
So you can technically figure out that, okay, that unit that has maybe 3 guys left, I need to concentrate on that with that many dice.
That's right.
To get those points, right?
Yeah.
So,
and it doesn't say whether it's got to come specifically from an HQ unit or otherwise. So, if you do have that the small unit of horrors that you want to cast, you throw 5 dice at a smite or something like that to kill 1 more wound off a unit. It's 2 VP.
Yeah.
It gives you that ability to kind of anywhere on the table to start trying to pull VP. The only downside is, unfortunately, it's got to be in with a warp power of some form.
So it looks like just with that whole thing, there's more of a situational awareness of where your units are, if they're going to be able to cast, if they're in range, and those key victory point units that you can target. So
yeah, and like I said earlier, it also kind of goes back to that the Chaos player, the Demons player, is going to be, he's got a different set of values from you for generating VP. You might have a unit sitting on objective, but that Greater Demon's coming across the table to knock him out with a 5 dicer.
Yeah.
And you've got to run him off the table somewhere or get him out of the way.
Yeah.
Because it might give up a VP, but it's worth 2 to him. Yeah. So, again, changes your objectives quite a bit.
Yeah, it definitely does. That's actually pretty cool though. Like I like how as a Zenich player you'll really want to have almost that foresight of where you want to dictate your psychic powers to really take advantage of that warp configuration. That's pretty cool.
Changer of ways, I guess.
That's right, yeah. The final Dominion here is Mirror of Hatred. This is kind of, put your tinfoil hats on for a little bit. This is what we're kind of thinking is like the Malal or Undivided kind of Dominion / Mark. It's kind of wild the way that the detachment rules work, so I'll just kick off. All models in this detachment gain the Hatred Demons, Demons of the Ruinstorm, and Psychers special rule. So it's like the anti-demon list, which is kind of cool. An army using this Dominion for its primary detachment may not include an allied detachment, which that's fine. A Demon Lord of this Dominion may choose to generate its Warlord traits from the list below as well, instead of the rulebook one. So 1 to 6 again. 1 and 2. The all is 1. When the Warlord is involved in a challenge against a model with any of the Psyker, Demon, or Demon of the Ruinstorm special rules, the controlling player may choose to use the weapon skill and/or initiative characteristics of the opposing model for the duration of the given fight phase. This does not alter the characteristics of the opposing model. So, if you're going against like a stronger character in combat, you're pretty much, turning the table so you get the benefit, which is kind of cool. Weird, but kind of cool. 3 to 4, Avatar of Hatred. This Warlord gains the effect of Hatred, Demons, Demons of the Ruinstorm, and Psychers during any sub-fight phase, not just the first.
It's always rerolling hits.
Always, yeah. Which, that's good. It's pretty cool. Inimitable Recursion. Say that 10 times. Wow. When the Warlord with this trait is reduced to 0 wounds, roll a d6. On a roll of a 6+, the model is placed into ongoing reserves with all of its wounds returned instead of being removed from play. Remember about rolling 6s? We talked about that. This Warlord trait may be used more than once in a given battle, and there is no limit to the number of times a model may be returned to ongoing reserves. However, once the roll has failed, the model may not be returned to play by any other means. If Slay the Warlord's secondary objective is in play, then it may be scored each time the Warlord is reduced to 0 wounds. That one's kind of cool, but kind of weird too. Like, how many 6s are you really going to roll? I'm not sure. But it could come up, yeah.
We did say it's like that's how you win games.
Yeah,
so
6s only. So yeah, just keep rolling those 6s and it'll always be good. In addition, they have their own objective as well as the other ones. The Infinite Cycle. Demons of the Ruinstorm special... Demons of the Ruinstorm player scores 1 victory point for each enemy unit with any of the Psyker, Demon, or Demon of the Ruinstorm special rules that is destroyed, removed from play, or forced to flee, and loses 1 victory point for each friendly unit with any of the Psyker, Demon, Demon of the Ruinstorm special rules that is destroyed, removed from play, or flee from the battlefield. If at the end of the game, the Demons of the Ruinstorm player has scored exactly 0 victory points, then they are considered to have won, regardless of the number of victory points scored by their opponent. So you're getting points for killing other Psychers, Demons, and whatnot, and you're losing points if your Demons, Psychers, or whatever are losing. So it's kind of like a double tally. Even if they both equal out, you win, regardless. Kind of cool. This Dominion, to me, is a little bit odd. It does stand out. It's definitely different than some of the other ones. Overall, yeah, it's kind of a weird one. It's really weird.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Alex.
I just don't see, I don't see this being used at all. That's what, I think if it had some kind of application against the Astartes versions of the armies, that would be great. But this is a pretty niche army. Like if your whole meta and all your buddies are playing demons, then this kind of starts to make sense.
Exactly. Yeah.
But as it stands with kind of where the community is as a whole right now, I just seems like a bit of a miss to me because you're just not. I don't think you're going to run in, especially with these. It seems like you got to pick your kind of detachment trait, and then you keep that for the entire game, tournament, whatever you're going to. So to double down that you're going to be playing all Demons players for a tournament and pick this means you lose the end of days traits and all the other stuff that you would get just by taking the generic trait, which I think would be better overall.
Yeah.
At least if you do play a Demon player, you're still getting VPs for killing units. You're still getting. With this, it seems really gamey. Again, as in a fluffy game against another Demon player, where you're both agree to play it. Kind of fun, but I don't know. I don't see it being used outside of that.
No, going to tournaments, it's probably the worst one to take. Period. Yeah. But like you said, against other players playing Demons, you might even see both players take the same thing to go against each other, right? And it's a draw anyways if it happens, right?
Yeah. Who wins if both scores?
Exactly, right. But neat idea. Hatred. They're kind of really doing that aspect of demons hating demons, right? Which there's always that. There's always the bunting of heads, right? But like you said, Myself personally probably wouldn't take it.
No.
So
it does have that ability, you know, if you are playing, you know, word bearers that are taking a Diabolist as demon allies, you know, or Magnus, Thousand Suns, Psyker's heavy, you know, it does give you, you know, I guess it does have some application there in the Astartes chapters, but I just don't.
Yeah. Out of all the other dominions you could pick, I'm not sure why you would gravitate to this particular one.
Yeah.
Maybe you're just a fan, right?
Yeah.
That's right. Anti-demons.
Of that
so. Anti-demons, yeah.
Or you've really bought into that, like, Malal is the Emperor, is the, you know, is the fifth Chaos God, and into that side of the fluff.
That's true.
Yeah. You tinfoil hatters out there.
That's true, yeah. I see you. I know you're there.
But, what do you guys think? Which is the best? Because this is going to be it. Like, you're going to see this.
Creeping Scourge.
Nurgle?
For me.
Nurgle's always pretty strong.
Khorne also, they have a lot of good abilities. Like, what's nice is the 4 main is there's something for everybody depending on what mark you want to roll with, it seems.
Yeah.
So
I'm kind of looking at the Slaanesh one. Just as how fast that army can be.
Oh yeah.
I don't think it's quite as powerful as maybe the Nurgle one or the Khorne. But it'd be a fun army to paint up. It'd be fun to have those fast cavalry units, the quick striking.
It seems like a very models are new models inbound, beautiful.
That's right.
This Lurid Onslaught one does seem like a good, almost like a counter army to the Scars compared to how fast that army can move. I think these guys will definitely give them a run for their money.
And not only with, you know, having these different styles of armies being built, but even doing the allies with the traitor Astartes, right? You're gonna see the combos come up with that too. So it'll be fun. It'll be good.
Yeah, I think on first read through, I think, I don't know, as a group, me specifically, like I looked at the Slaanesh one, I was like, bah, garbage. Let's look at Khorne and Nurgle again. In hindsight, like I think like just the speed that you're gonna get. Now again, you do have deep striking and stuff like that, but you know when you're talking about like Chaos Cavalry or Beasts moving 12, automatically getting a 12 if they're rolling with the Warlord 24-inch move.
That's big.
Like that's like Elder speed type of movement, and I think, you know, and White Scars, I guess in this context, type of movement. I think that does give you some, and again constantly forcing morale checks. Like it doesn't say that you can't take the Brotherhood of Psykers rule, or does it? Might actually say that, but you can choose it as an emanation.
Yeah.
So you know, being able to force those psychic scream checks and stuff like that, again, just to try and win as many of those rolls as possible to gain VP, it you know, kind of comes a little bit gamey, but it's actually a pretty interesting way of looking at things, like to generate VP. That being said, Khorne.
The Tznich one, I think, is going to be fun as well with just casting. Period. Right? Like you're going to have so many dice to play around with, and you're going to see, I think, both sides of the dice, right? Like
that's right. Yeah.
You're not able to cast. Well, now you're taking some penalties, but then also they might turn into some bonuses just with those extra dice coming at you, right? And just having the little units being able to cast all over the place, it'll give some of those Thousand Sun players, I think, a run for their money.
Definitely can if you combo right, especially taking advantage of those warp rifts, right? Like,
exactly.
If you really want to get all your smite casters close, just pop them all out of that one that's 12 inches away from the enemy and have at it, right?
Start rolling.
Yeah, awesome. Very cool. We're going to start sliding into the unit entries. We'll start with, I guess, 0 to 1, Ruinstorm Demon Lord. This is your kind of generic Big Daddy, essentially. A pretty impressive stat line, to say the least. Weapon skill 6, ballistic skill 5, strength 8, T6, 6 wounds, initiative 4, 5 attacks, leadership 10, 4 plus armor save. Demons all rocking out their 5 plus invulnerable. Got a whack of options, though. just overall, you can just select up to 3 emanations of horror. They don't have to be the same as those taken in his unit, so he can include brutes, which are pretty much like a retinue, command squad kind of thing. He can be upgraded to fly, which for 30 points, yeah. Why wouldn't you? Always has to be the army's warlord. Has a guardian demon rule. Regardless of his placement in a squad, he can always be the first model to take the wounds when they're allocated to a unit, which is nice. We can kind of tank it for his command squad. Vanguard of Hell special rule. First turn of the game, if a unit's comprised entirely of models with this rule, they don't roll first to see if they enter play, they just enter play, which is really good, I think. And then, flying monstrous creature enters play, gliding, or swooping, depending on what you want to do. Overall, for 200 points, as your base lord, pretty good. I don't see a lot of negative drawbacks with him, especially in turn 1, strength 9, T7.
Yeah, the +1 in the dish. So the other thing too is being able to enter play swooping or gliding with a flying HQ that's that tough on turn 1. So it kind of, short of like everyone else's flyers are coming in turn 2 for the most part, without exception. Anti-air might be a bit of an issue turn 1, but even then, if you get grounded, sure, you just come at them.
Yeah.
Gives you that extra bit of resilience. So like rather than everything else deep striking in at your portals, you can come in from wherever, fly in, and your 6 is to hit. Just a little bit of extra resilience right off the bat that's pretty sick for a model that tough.
Oh, agreed. I definitely think that'll really change how some of the armies are built, especially if they're expecting this guy, or maybe after a couple games they realize what that can do. Next up, I'll save that for you because I know that's your baby.
Is it Kabanda? Oh.
Yeah.
This is Kabanda, the Demon General of Cygnus. Weapon skill 9, ballistic skill 5, strength 8, toughness 7, 8 wounds, initiative 6, 7 attacks, and a 3-up save. Guy is a beast.
He's
a beast.
No
He's
kidding.
Impressive.
And really, we reviewed the Blood Angels and Sanguinius, and this is a toe-to-toe with Sanguinius type of character, which is good. It's great. It's fluffy. It's lore based
between those two for sure.
He's got a page of special rules, so bear with me here. Kabanda may only be selected as part of an army using the Crimson Fury, so the Khorne Dominion, and must be the army's warlord. Kabanda uses the Skullkeeper Warlord trait. Gains the Eternal Warrior special rule.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
We're complaining about the lack of Eternal Warrior here so far. Kabanda, Miasma of Rage, Kabanda, and any model within 12 adds +1 the result of any rules made to determine how many attacks it's granted by the Rampage special rule. In addition, Kabanda gains a 4+ invulnerable save as long as he's currently locked in combat or revolved in a challenge. It's pretty solid. So now he's a Primarch, effectively.
Yeah.
Vanguard of Hell on the first turn of the game, like same as the other one. Here he can compose entirely models of this unit, blah, blah. Basically doesn't have to roll to enter play. He can just show up. Scythe of Hatred. At the end of the enemy assault phase, after the results of any combats have been worked out and sweeping advances and consolidations have been completed, Kabanda may release its fury as a tremendous strike that damages any who are caught in its path. To resolve this attack, the controller player should place a Hellstorm template angled in the direction of their choice and with the narrow end in contact with Kabanda's base. Giant Flamer. Any units underneath the template suffer a number of equal hits to the number of wounds Kabanda caused during the preceding assault phase, each at strength 6 AP 0. So if he causes 5 wounds, every unit under that, every model under that will be hit 5 times. That's the way I read that.
Is it model or unit? What's it say there?
Any units underneath the template suffer a number of hits equal to the number of wounds caused.
Oh wow.
That's
intense.
That's awesome.
Intense. Yeah, he's got to win combat or a sweeping advance to do it. But Eternal Rivalry, again, if any enemy army includes Sanguinius, he gains preferred enemy against Sanguinius and hatred Sanguinius. Special rules Yeah, and also
That's
gets
ultra buff.
additional VPs if Eternal Rivalry. If Sanguinius is removed as a casualty while it is fighting in a challenge against Kabanda, a Demon of the Ruinstorm player scores 2 additional victory points. This is in addition to any points scored for Slay the Warlord. However, if Kabanda is removed as a casualty while he's fighting in a challenge against Sanguinius, then the Demons of the Ruinstorm player instead loses 1 victory point.
I'll take that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the last one, Flying Monsters Creature. When entering play, Kabanda may choose either to interplay gliding or swooping its initial movement. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's a monster.
How many points is he?
He's 460 points. So on top of that, he's got some emanations here. He's got Molten Blood, Brass Collar, and Horned Crown. So Molten Blood is anytime when he is slain, I believe, he does damage to anyone around him. As well as Brass Collar, which is the 3+, and Adamantium Will. And then the Horned Crown is, we didn't cover that, but it's...
Horned Crown. I can't remember
when
exactly.
you do damage on the charge. What is that?
Oh, Hammer of Wrath.
Hammer of Wrath. There we go. Yeah.
That's
So
right.
Hammer of Wrath against D3 Hammer of Wrath, I believe, or Hammer of Wrath. Just when you lands.
Just pop out there.
Yeah. Unit Hammer of Wrath special rule. If the unit already has a special rule, hits inflicted is increased from 1 to D3. Yeah. So does he have Hammer of Wrath?
Pretty good, actually.
No. So he just gets the 1 Hammer of Wrath attack.
Oh, okay.
It is a
still,
strength
it's
8
another-
Hammer of Wrath attack, or strength 9 on the first turn. So again,
Can't go wrong.
all these named characters and special characters do have the +1 strength, +1 toughness on the first turn. So he is strength 9, toughness 8, with a 3-up and a 4-up invulnerable in close combat. That's pretty sick.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That is huge. That's great.
Samus?
Samus.
Samus is here.
Samus.
So Samus, the Unbound, Demon Lord of the Runestone. He's 415 for points. He's got pretty much his claws, fangs, and a demon blade. Molten Blood, Emanation of Horror. Brass Collar. And also Quicksilver Speed. That's another one that we should probably look at as well. Let's go back here. Quicksilver Speed. The unit pretty much gets fleet and move through cover special rules. It's a little different for him.
Yeah.
So
It's going
It's
to come
not
into
bad.
play with his special rules, though.
yeah. So special rules: Titanmass, Part of the Veil, Lord Murder, Armor Bane, Murder Strike. It will not die. Born of Murder and Whispers of Madness. Samus.
Samus is here.
Yeah. So, Lord Murder. So, Samus Unbound may only be selected part of the army using Resplendent Terror, Etheric Dominion, and must be the army's warlord. So, uses the Path of Blood Warlord trait from the Crimson Fury Etheric Dominion, and gains Eternal Warrior special rule. So, again, we're seeing that on the named
That's
Greater Demons, right?
That's the 6d6 and the roll taking the 2 highest
yeah.
charge.
Yeah.
And he has fleet and move through cover. He's making that charge.
Oh yeah,
No doubt,
guaranteed.
no doubt, no doubt.
Guaranteed.
So, Born of Murder. So, model with the character type is killed on any turn before Samus Unbound is deployed. Place a counter or other marking within 3 inches of where they died. On the controlling player's next turn, this marker is treated as a Warp Rift marker for this turn only. Following all standard rules, you follow all standard rules for Warp Rifts as detailed in Parting of the Veil rule. With the exception of no Demons of the Ruinstorm model other than Samus the Unbound may be deployed using the Warp Rift marker. After the controlling player's turn, the Warp Rift is removed. So, gives you some options, right? If it happens, then now you got another place to go with him. So, when being deployed in this manner, Samus the Unbound does not need to pass any reserve rolls. Instead, he just automatically deploys.
Awesome.
Yeah, no kidding, with his abilities and whatnot. This special rule does not prevent Samus being deployed earlier in the game using the standard Parting of the Veil rule. So, also, he has the Whispers of Madness. So if he's part of your army, all enemy reserve rolls are made at -1 regardless whether or not Samus is in play.
Nice.
So auto -1. Pretty nice. I know I use it with my Ultramarines, but you're getting that even though he's not in play. That's pretty good. In addition, enemy models in ongoing reserves will fail to appear on any particular one of a d6 roll of 1.
So even on turn 3, 4, 5,
Yeah.
there's no auto coming in. You always have to roll a d6, and on a 1 they always fail.
No.
That's pretty good.
So, also part of this rule, if Samus Unbound is part of your army, the warp charge cost of any blessing type psychic power used during the game by either side is increased by 1. And models in combat with Samus, as well as those taking fear tests in order to charge Samus Unbound, their leadership value is halved unless they have the Stubborn or Fearless special rule.
That's pretty good.
That's huge.
That's massive.
So you're taking fear checks on half leaderships when you charge him or you're locked in combat.
I mean, he's got 6 attacks.
Yeah, so it's that weapon skill 1 if you fail a fear check.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're fighting Samus pretty typically on weapon skill 1 unless you got stubborn or
That's
fearless.
awesome.
Yeah.
6 attacks going in, initiative 9.
Wow.
That's big.
Pick and choose your battles, I guess.
Yeah. So apparently, obviously with a lot of these rules in here, they kind of replace whatever else is out there, right? So there's just some designer notes. But
And he's a monstrous creature, right?
yes, monstrous creature
So
character.
that's we didn't cover Kabanda, but effectively they're all AP2, hitting at their strength. Yeah,
That's right.
That's pretty big.
Which is, pretty nice. Just a quick touch base, too. I don't remember or recall us talking about it. Speaking of reserves and demons, rules that place modifiers of any kind on reserves made against demons actually don't have any effect with them entering the play. It's got a little note here at the beginning just saying that warp pay no heed to the tactics or technology of mankind. So, you got a guy rolling with the Augur Exploratory Array on his Proteus, and you're rocking out a special character from the Ultramarines. For that -2, it actually doesn't even affect the demons, which is really cool. But moving back on, one of my favorites coming up here, Korvax's Utterblight Unbound. Okay, the best, right? Come on. He's 425 points. Still got a pretty good stat line. Weapon skill 6, ballistic skill 3, strength 7, T8, 8 wounds, initiative 3. That doesn't matter. 5 attacks, leadership 10, 4+. So first turn, he's going to be strength 8, T9. T9. Awesome. He's got a whack of rules here. Lord of Decay, he can only be part of the Creeping Scourge. Obviously, he has to be the Warlord. He can use the Petulant Cloud Warlord trait, which is nice because he gets that. But he also gains the Eternal Warrior special rule. So there we go, showing that Eternal Warrior love.
Not getting instigated.
That's right. He is a Psychic Mastery level 2 Psyker. He can generate powers from the Biomancy discipline only, which, you know what? I'm okay with that, just because Biomancy can be good, to say the least. Iron Arm, yeah.
Really good.
Solid power.
Yeah. He also gets Gaping Maw. So when fighting against infantry models, any to-hit rolls of 5 or 6 made in the assault phase by Korvax's Utterblight have the instant death special rule. You roll to wound and save these separately. So, pretty decent. I like that just because of his model, too. He's got that massive maw and it looks awesome. Also has the Noisome Tide of Flesh. So, Korvax's Utterblight Unbound inflicts D3 Hammer of Wrath hits when charging. It ignores all dangerous and terrain checks. It counts as being armed with assault grenades when charging as well. In addition, if it is destroyed, replace its model with the 7-inch Massive Blast template. All models under the template that do not have Demon or Demon of the Ruinstorm special rules suffer a single poison 4+, AP4 hit. If this is a vehicle, treat the strength of any of the hits inflicted as 2.
Till he blows up.
Yeah, pretty much blows up in the big blob of rot and disgustingness. Pretty cool. Overall, I think he's going to be great to play with. He's just got a lot of stuff, right? He has the Crushing Claw, so he's going to be having Rending. He's got the Miasma of Rot, and then he's got the Shroud of Darkness emanation as well, which I don't remember us talking about.
You don't get the plus attacks on the charge.
That's the one?
Shroud of Darkness.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it's basically defensive grenades, which can make him quite the tar pit. I think he's going to be a good character to roll with, for sure. Like,
he's also going to get the Feel No Pain. Because
yeah,
he's part
Feel
of
No
the,
Pain,
part
5+.
of the, yeah, if you take him as part of that Dominion.
High wounds, real high toughness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be pretty hard to knock out.
Toughness 9, 8 wounds is that's no nonsense.
No,
and he's still got his 5 up with a 4 up save.
With Eternal, like...
He's no slouch, right? Like, he's got what? He's got 5 attacks?
Yeah.
5?
5 attacks.
5s and 6 doing.
Strength 7. No, he's not insta-killing things, but, wow.
That's what Iron Arm's for.
He's on the first 2 rounds, though, right?
Yeah, Strength 8.
He's still Strength 8 on the first 2 rounds.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you got Iron Arm for the rest.
For later on, yeah. That's really good. I'm pretty pleased with that, to say the least. Sliding into the rest of the HQ slots here, we've got a couple different ones. It's the Ruinstorm Greater Demon. Pretty decent overall options with him. 160 points, weapon skill 5, BS 4, strength 7, T6, 5 wounds, initiative 4, 4 attacks, leadership 10. He can select up to 3 of the emanations of horror, so you can start to... This is where you start to come into the combos. You can start upgrading, do whatever you really want to do with these guys. Ruinstorm Demon Chosen. These are, again, like a Centurion style or Centurion console type. 50 points each, weapon skill 5, BS 4, strength 5, T4, 3 wounds. All in all, pretty much the same as like an actual Centurion, just the extra strength bonus is nice. 3 attacks, leadership 10. He can also take 3 of the options from the Emanations of Horror. It's pretty sweet.
His big thing here is he's got Shepard of the Malign Intent, which gives, before the game, you get to choose between each game on tournament players. Preferred enemy infantry, preferred enemy elites, bikes, jet bikes, and cavalry, or preferred enemy monstrous creatures and flying monstrous creatures. It gets conferred to the unities in.
No.
That's pretty huge.
That is huge.
Adding kind of preferred enemy to any unit that you need to add it into. You got melee heavy units just for 50 points, throwing in a preferred enemy in there.
Yeah.
And he's only 50 points
by himself. Yeah.
50 points base, and then you give him your upgrades. So you're definitely seeing this guy in every army for sure, right?
Yeah. I'd be surprised if you didn't take him, honestly.
This is your heralds for demon players out there.
Yes.
This is typically a herald, a corn slanish, whatever. Giving you those buffs. And again, this is really nice. It kind of gives them like you said, a console-esque stat line with that little buff that they can throw into units like consoles do, with the flavor that fits.
Yeah, no, it's good. Rolling into the elite section, these guys, we mentioned them earlier, acting as like the retinue / command squad for the Archdemon Lord. These are Ruinstorm Demon Brutes. They're pretty tough, like they're no joke. 150 points for a squad of 3. Weapon skill, ballistic skill 4, strength and toughness of 6, 3 wounds, initiative 4, 3 attacks each, leadership 8. They can take up to 2 of the Emanations of Horror upgrades. They got that Vanguard of Hell special rule, so you don't have to roll. They come on, which awesome. These guys are going to be, I think, a big impact, like running around with your demon characters.
Probably flying around. With wings, maybe?
Yeah, you can't take wings on them. They're 50 mil base models, so basically anything that's on a 50 mil base, adding wings to it, for I think it's 15 points. So you're 65 points, 65 points a model, basically.
You can't go wrong.
Throw in another 10 points for rending. 75 points a model. 75 points a model for a strength 6, toughness 6, 3 wound.
like
They're
Four-up model?
going to hit hard,
That's-
and they're
yeah.
going to be hard
That's pretty good.
to take out as well, right?
yeah,
So
especially with just appearing first turn if you want them, like they're there.
Yeah.
So that's a great unit. I definitely think you'll be seeing a lot of those. Moving on to the troops. Now, probably going to be, no joke, point for point, one of the best units in the game.
Yeah.
Ruinstorm, lesser demons. At first glance, doesn't seem like they're too crazy, right? It's 4 across the board. It's basically Marine. They got an extra wound. 2 attacks, leadership 7. But it's only 60 points for 5 guys. They can take up to 3 of the emanations of horror list, and additional models are 12 points apiece. And you can have it up to another 15, I believe. Yeah, 15. So, wings, crushing claws,
There's a
like
trend here, yeah.
This is where you're going to see people making these large squads of them, and the modeling aspect of it.
it's insane.
Whatever combos you're going to come up with, those models will represent that, and it's crazy.
Just like from a just a pure body standpoint, 12 points a model, like you're less than a Marine stat line for upgrades. I get that, but in the first round or first 2 turns, you're +1 strength, +1 toughness. So you're strength 5, toughness 5. If you're part of the Khorne Dominion, you've got rage, so now you're 4 attacks on the charge. Or if you're Slaanesh, +1, well, you've got movement shenanigans. If you're Nurgle, you've got -1 toughness to everything in close combat
And feel no
armor,
pain.
and feel no pain.
Yeah.
Yeah. So simply put, like a 12-point model with 2 wounds and a 4-up save with feel no pain alone, just to dump. Here's 120 points for 10 models. Just deal with it.
You also have
That's
plus invulnerable too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And a 5-up invulnerable.
Yeah.
It's just
like, here you
it's
go,
tough.
guys. Enjoy.
It's tough. Like here's basically a Marine squad that's slightly better than a Marine squad.
Yeah.
With all these specials attached to it that deploys in your deployment zone turn 1. That's
very hard to. I honestly think, like, no doubt, best unit point for point that is going to be in the game right now. Ruinstorm Demon Beasts, 75 points for 3 of them. These are what we just talked about on steroids. So Marine stat line across the board, except for base and base strength 5, toughness 5, 2 wounds, 2 attacks, leadership 7 again. But now these guys count as beasts. So now we've got a unit that's troop, that's got some speed, first turn, strength 6, toughness 6. They can take up to 2 options of the Emanations of Horror list, and can include up to 7 additional beast models for 25 points apiece. To me, these are like the Chaos Spawn. They're going to be insane.
Dogs.
Yeah. Dogs,
Fiends,
whatever.
Yeah,
like
the
that,
fiends. Yeah, that's them.
To me, you're paying 12 points more for a 12-inch movement, which is not too bad.
No,
same stat line, but it's gonna be tough getting past that first troops profile.
Yeah, and with the Dominions, like, that unit gets hit and run with.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, hit and run with these things, and they're beasts. Like, they're gonna be all over the board.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I like them.
It's going to be huge. Yeah. Like, these options for the demons, like for their troops alone, are just awesome. And the modeling potential, right? Anything and everything you can think of, you can roll with.
Have at her.
Yeah.
Even taking that what is it, the Warp Barb, the EP3 weapon. So they're strength 5, toughness 5 base. So they can move 12, and then they're +2 strength 7 for the shot,
plus an additional
AP
1 for
3
first turn.
For first turn. So they move 12. They got strength 8, AP3, Armor Bane. First turn.
Armor Bane, like, insane.
That's pretty
insane.
tough. Yeah, like suddenly your corn dogs are shooting like a strength 8 AP3 Armor Bane shot at you in your deployment zone.
Missile launcher, pretty
Yeah.
much. Essentially with Armor Bane, right?
Oh,
that's pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty
amazing.
Swarms?
Yeah, I believe the second last Yeah, second last troop choice is the Ruinstorm Demon Swarms. 60 points for a 3-man squad. Basically, typical of what you would see as like little Nurgling type dudes. Weapon skill, ballistic skill, strength of 2, T3, 4 wounds, initiative 3, attacks D6, leadership 7, 4 saves. They can take one option from the Imaginations of Horror list. Not horrible, can include an additional 7 swarm bases, 20 points each. They have the unit type infantry. They do count as a support unit though, so you're not able just to min-max with that list. And they have the swarm special rule, so blast and template weapons are going to be doing double damage, which that's fine. Considering you still get that 5+ invulnerable, it's
even
crazy.
Even just throwing like the emanation that gives them rend on them for 5 points a base.
So
you're 65, I guess it'd be 15 points, 75 points for 3 bases of these things, and they get D6 attacks. Let's say you get a good roll, 5 or 6 attacks on a charge with these things, all rending.
Yeah.
AP2 suddenly. you still got to roll 6s, but like just it does like volume attacks and for cheap throwaway units. Like it's having that ability to kind of play with their, again with Nurgle, they got to feel no pain.
Yeah.
Throw a bunch of 3 bases of Nurglings out there. They get flat, feel no pain, and then you give them rending.
Yeah, and just looking at this unit, very good unit to tie things up with initially, and then navigate the rest of your army around what you want to use, right? And again, I'm looking at hit and run. Like, if you can get it off with these guys, great, and then slam them with something else. But even with the feel no pain from the other Dominion there, like they're gonna be in there, stuck in there, and unless something huge is coming out to take them out, right? You're very resilient. So
toughness 3.
Yeah.
You're still not getting insta-gibbed by Marines.
No,
right?
You still need that 6.
You got a 4 wound, feel no pain, 4 up save. Like you throw this thing into a squad of just tacticals, like you're gonna be there till turn 5, trying to get rid of them. And for 60 or hell even 120 points for 6 bases of these.
Oh yeah.
And they've got rending. They're probably gonna kill the tactical squads.
Yeah, they'll be there for quite some time.
Pretty good.
Just vulnerable on the swarms special rule for them.
Yeah.
So,
and getting insta-gibbed with like a power fist or something like that.
Yeah,
losing the whole
exactly
base for that one. Yeah.
Ruinstorm Possessed. Really cool. Lots of conversion potential for the guys out there that really want to get down to it. You got 2 different profiles you can play with. You have Possessed Legionaries and Possessed Auxiliaries. So Possessed Legionaries are basically Marines. They have a Marine stat line, except they're initiative 3, 2 attacks each, 3+ save. All around pretty good. You've got the Auxiliaries, which are basically your normal standard Imperial Army, militia, trooper, 3 across the board, initiative 2, 1 attack, 5+ save. The nice thing is the unit starts out at 50 points for 10 Possessed Auxiliaries. You can take an additional 10, 5 points each, which not bad. 100 points for 20 models is great. These guys actually have weapons, so they got Auxilia rifles, they can have las pistols, they can have your standard upgrades, heavy stubber, rotor cannon, flamer, plasma meltagun, grenade launcher, one of every 1 unit for every 5, I believe. Yeah, can exchange. It's nice. You can upgrade the auxiliary or Auxilia legionaries, the possessed guys, into legionnaires for 5 points a model. So essentially you're paying, 5 points to make them a Marine. They have a bolt gun. They can take bolt pistols. They do come with, close combat weapons. A lot of different stuff. Again, flamer, melta, plasma gun, you can upgrade 1 and 5. The sergeant can basically, there's no actual sergeant, but 1 in the squad can be upgraded with a power weapon, power fist, lightning claw, thunderhammer. This is kind of like a very characterful style army. It is a support unit, so it's not your generic troops, and it does have the Slaves to Darkness special rule.
Yeah. So it doesn't ever count for anything, basically. So may never score victory points for the destruction or removal of this unit from play, and can't control objectives.
Yeah. So also independent characters can't join either.
Yeah.
So
and the other thing too is it doesn't have any of the demonic like splitting the veil, parting the veil.
Yeah.
So they can't deploy from the
warp rifts,
warp rifts or anything like that. Yeah. But that being said, if you wanted 20 guardsmen to throw into a demon army to hold objectives on the back line and just sit there, or to run and gun with a squad of tactical marines you wanted to throw in, great.
Yeah.
Like I looking at there's all those great options for demons, but from a guy who fields tech thralls all the time, like, you can never undersell a 5-point infantry unit.
No.
It's always a great addition to any army. So especially one that you could throw flamers, meltaguns, grenade launchers, rotor cannons, heavy stubbers on, like, just
anything,
to reach out and touch you type of thing. So yeah, I think a weird addition considering we're talking all demons.
Yeah.
But tactically, I think it's a pretty good choice overall.
Definitely.
It's kind of remind me of somewhat like cultists and whatnot, right?
That's
yeah,
right. Yeah,
basically.
Yeah.
Cultists / your almost kind of like Black Shield guys who just had enough joining the traitor side. It's pretty cool, customizable. Again, the converting I think will really shine here for anyone who wants to make custom squads, right? Like,
yeah, for sure.
So fast attack, some interesting choices to say the least. Ruinstorm Demon Cavalry. 125 points for 5 cavalry models. Again, 4s across the board, 2 wounds, initiative 4, 3 attacks. Nice thing is that you can take an additional 5 for 25 points apiece. You can select up to 2 of those Emanations of Horror. What's nice is just the resilience of all these squads. For the most part, 2 wounds, T4, strength 4. So first turn you're T5, strength 5. It's going to be huge. That 4+ save, 5+ invulnerable save is just like, wow.
5 of them.
So yeah, it
3
is
attacks each.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah. It's going to be awesome. I really think that these units, depending on where you want to run or the style of list you want to roll with, these are going to be great.
This is effectively, it allows you to play your cavalry units.
Yep.
If you didn't have any of the dogs and stuff like that from because they're effectively the exact same stat line as the demon beast as troops, and then exact same points.
Yeah.
So effectively, like, if you didn't have the bases specifically for the dogs or smaller units, then you would give you that option to play cavalry units like Juggernauts or whatever you wanted to fill a role.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
Right? Just options again. So many options.
So many options.
The Ruinstorm Demon Shrike. This is like a big bad beast. He's a flying monstrous creature, character, 160 points. Nice as a fast attack option, considering he can have 2 of the Emanations of Horror list power upgrades. Weapon skill, ballistic skill 4, strength 7, toughness 6, 5 wounds, initiative 4, 4 attacks, leadership 10. Same thing, he can when entering play, gliding or swooping, his call. Awesome. Monstrous creature, you're rocking out at least AP2 right off the get-go, so I don't even know if you need to worry about rending. But that said, there's
for anyone who's ever played a Tyranid or a Hive Tyrant, flying Hive Tyrant heavy Tyranid list, or that type of this is that it. This is that same character. Like for again, can't the Tides of Madness +1 strength +1 toughness for the first 2 turns, strength 8, toughness 7, 5 wounds.
It's
if he's cornered, he's got a 3 up, 4 up, 5 up invulnerable save.
So good.
Just so good on every level. He can take 2 of the Emanations again. Again, the Barb, the 12-inch. That would means he's strength 10, armor bane. with a shot. Like, there's just so many good combinations for, especially flying. Again, he's got Flying Monsters creature. He's coming in. He's hard to hit. He's tough to bring down. When he does come down, he's still Strength 7, Toughness 6, and he's in your face.
Yeah.
That's a solid choice. And you know, if you, as fast attack goes, they only have the Cavalry and the Shrike right now. So for 160 points, let's say you push them up to 200 points and give them all the upgrades.
Yeah.
It's for 600 points for 3 of them.
Can't go wrong.
Yeah, that's a solid choice.
I highly doubt they're getting taken out.
No, yeah, that's right. You're, 1 or 2 of them are just going to be flying around for most of the game, wrecking things.
And I can see all those Dominions taking this.
Yeah,
this
absolutely.
unit, right? With the different ways those Dominions will interact with the unit choices. I mean, resilient, fast, hit and run. Like, there's so many options and so many abilities that are going to affect these units. This one is going to be pretty scary on the board. Like, it's going to be one of those targets that you want to knock down quick.
Yeah.
And if you don't, it's going to bring the pain, I think.
Yeah. The nice part is moving towards the heavy support section now. If you don't want to run the Demon Shrike, you can run the Greater Ruinstorm Demon Beast. He is almost the same, but better, in my opinion. Weapon skill, ballistic skill 4, strength 8, toughness 6, 4 wounds, initiative 3, 3 attacks, leadership 7. Still counts as a monstrous creature. He can select up to 3 of those emanations of horror, and you can take 2 additional demon beasts with him. 100 points apiece. You can give him the fly if you really want. You could rock out those barbs for that strength 10 again.
Yeah. Can you take flies on these Greater Ruinstorm Demon Beasts? I thought these 2 you can't take.
Oh, yeah. You know what? No, I think that bracket 3. I think it's just the dasher, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's not get crazy.
But let's
but
be
still,
honest, if you didn't, you could just take the fast attack option.
Yeah. So it's just, these are insane. Like, a lot of armies out there are going to have a tough time trying to take out a lot of these big monsters in your list. Like, your target priority will have to be on point as an Astartes player, a Canakin player, Imperial Army player.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Like, even if you go to, so you take into consideration, this thing is going to show up probably within 12 inches of you, and he's probably going to have 2 buddies.
Yeah.
So you're talking about a unit with 12 wounds, 4 wounds apiece, strength 8, toughness 6. So first turn, second turn, there's strength 9, toughness 7, with a 5-up and vulnerable 4-up save, 3-up if Khorne. That's tough. That's tough to break.
Mm-hmm.
And fearless, like fear, hammer wrath, like they're just gonna. It's gonna be tough. And again, for only 100 points, you throw again. I think the theme here is you throw maybe 1 shooting attack, 1 emanation for shooting, 1 emanation for melee, and 1 emanation to help keep them alive.
Yeah. Mixed bag.
Yeah, mixed bag, and you've got a unit that's real tough to get rid of. Yeah. And even if not, let's say you just throw 300 points down with no emanations and maybe just one of the Dominion traits to throw on top of them. Like, you can't with Khorne, he's 5 attacks base, 6 attacks on the charge, 18 attacks. It's strength 9, AP 2. Like,
you can't go wrong.
That's crazy.
You really can't. It's some of these unit choices are insane. The next one is probably the craziest one. I'm already trying to think of how many can I get in my army. The Ruinstorm Demon Behemoths. 300 points, so a huge investment, but just wait. Weapon skill, ballistic skill 4, strength 8, T7, 10 wounds, initiative 2, 5 attacks, leadership 7. Monstrous creature. The nice thing is he's got this unstoppable rule, which I can just, modeling wise, I'm just thinking of all the different ways to do it. Any attack that normally inflicts instant death or says that the target model is removed from play, instead it inflicts D3 wounds on the model with this special rule. In addition, attacks made with sniper or poison rules only cause a wound roll of a 6, unless the attacker's strength would cause it to be a lower result. So snipers, poison, unless you're rolling 6s, don't matter. Paragon Blade, D-Weapon, Night Stomps, taking D3, and you're still coming back. First turn, you're at Strength 9, T8.
Toughness 8, yeah.
10 wounds. Like, get out of here. You ain't taking them down. Like, there's no way, man. There's no way.
Again, 5 attacks, plus Rampage, 4 up, or a 3 up save with a 5 up invulnerable. Like, now granted,
it's like a great unclean one.
Well, it is. I think that's the intent.
Pretty much, right?
The greater demon stat line, effectively.
Yeah.
300 points is a bit steep.
It's a big investment.
I think they looked at the greater demon beast and figured, well, 3 of these is 300 points, and this guy's kind of worth one of them.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
So
pretty much.
Combo up.
Yeah, I like toughness 8. People who haven't played a lot of Mechanicum or Legio Cybernetica players don't know how hard it is to get rid of a toughness 8, toughness 9 model.
Yeah.
Especially one that's got a feel no pain.
Yeah.
You're never gonna instant death out a toughness 8 feel no pain. So you're always getting your feel no pain.
Or on these ones, they'll probably actually have the it will not die instead.
Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry.
But still, it will not die. That's clutch when you're dealing with models with 10 wounds.
Yeah.
You know.
You're bound to roll 5 or 6 sooner or later. So
yeah, just unreal.
Yeah, and we talked about this a little bit about not having. There's not a lot of Eternal Warrior in the army. So when you do run into those Custodes players or Paragon Blades, you are in serious trouble. And with only having, as much as killer as these things are, for the most part, the army wide is weapon skill 4.
Yeah.
So you are going to run into Custodes players, Primarchs that are weapon skill 9, weapon skill 8. You are going to have a little bit harder time hitting them, but on the back end, across the board, you're higher toughness than anything else out there. So. Short of Legio Cybernetica, you really don't have another army out there that's as tough to wound as these guys.
It's true. Yeah, that's the trade-off, right? You hit maybe a little worse in combat, but at the same time, you're resilient enough to actually bounce back from that, probably. So, just awesome. Just awesome.
You could tell we're a little excited about this.
Yeah. Oh, just a little bit. This is like the Lord of Wars, the big baddie of baddies. So the Ruinstorm Archdemon, a whopping 600 points. Right off the bat, I won't lie. Rocking this guy out, maxed out for powers. You probably won't see him in games unless you're playing 3 to 4K. Weapon skill 6, ballistic skill 5, strength 9, T8, 10 wounds, initiative 3, 6 attacks, leadership 10. Gargantuan creature. Some of these upgrades are insane. Like, they really are. He's got a whack of upgrades. The cheapest being 25 points each, the most expensive being 100 points. You can make him flying for an additional 100 points, so there's a 700 point Lord of War right now. Like I said, 3 to 4K. Depending on how many you give him, he can have up to 3 of these upgrades. He might even be more. Like, you might be needing bigger games, but I think that's kind of the whole point of it. Is
the idea
these are like the pinnacle of.
He's going to show up and punch your Warhound Titan in the face, pretty much, and that's going to be.
Yeah, not to mention on first turn he's strength 10, T9, 10 wounds.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Give him the Lord of Chaos upgrade, so he's a 4 up invulnerable, 3 up in close combat invulnerable.
Yeah,
that's big.
Yeah, just. It's insane. Reaper of Souls upgrade. Can choose to sacrifice its normal attacks in close combat to make a number of attacks equal to the number of models in any one unit it's locked in combat with. These are resolved at half, rounding down of its current strength. So, strength 10 on first turn, strength 5, or strength 4 normally, but they are still AP 2, which, depending how many guys are around you, could be huge for clearing out hordes, depending. Just Breaker of Titans. You want to check that one out? Like, just some insane models.
Yeah,
just the options.
Breaker of Titans. So the model with this option can choose to sacrifice its number of attacks in close combat, make a number of attacks that are equal to half, rounding down of its current attack score, but its strength D AP1.
Yeah.
3 attacks. 3
Yeah.
strength D, AP 1 attacks.
Yeah,
That's,
I'll take that.
Yeah, no wonder it's called Breaker of Titans, right?
That's what it's for.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
he has weapon skill 6, so he's going to be hitting on 3s.
Yeah.
2 hits are going to go through typically, and 2 strength D hits
Yeah.
consistently every time.
Just insane.
We also have Font of the Warp. So a model with this option gains a Psyker Special Rule, Mastery Level 4, and may generate psychic powers from any discipline in the Horus Heresy Age of Darkness rulebook, except for Santic and Malefic Demonology. In addition, the controlling player does not add this model's mastery level to the total warp charges generated for given psychic phase, but instead adds this model's current remaining wounds.
So plus
10.
plus 10 warp charge dice.
Right off the bat.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
If yours in each player, you're gonna love
kidding.
it.
Come at me, Magnus.
Yeah, Magnus
Yeah.
who?
I'll throw
Magnus
dice at you
who?
for days, buddy.
That's crazy.
Next one we have as well is Wound in Reality. A model with this option that loses its last wound explodes as if though it had a catastrophic damage special rule and has lost its final hull points. So big explosion.
Yeah.
Huge explosion.
Yeah.
And that's going to pretty much take out whatever's around it.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
next as well, we have Beyond Death. A model with this option loses its last wound. It is not immediately removed from play, but instead the controlled player rolls a d6. On a 4+, the model is placed instead in ongoing reserves with d6 wounds remaining, and on a 3 or less, it is removed from play as a casualty. And this effect may only be triggered once per model in any game.
So like we said, roll 6s.
Yeah.
So-
And that once per model in any game. So if you're playing some real large games and you got
Multiple.
some of these guys, yeah, there's that might be one to really consider upgrading to.
It's like if someone killed your Warhound Titan and he walked back on the table next turn.
Yeah,
with,
exactly.
With half his armor value back. Like,
Exactly.
what
That's
the
just
hell?
insane.
Like I think there's some real winners here. Like in the
Yeah.
like, in the points. Like I think you're gonna want to take Lord of Chaos for the invulnerable saves to make him just super resilient.
Definitely.
Font of the Warp is insane.
Yeah.
Like 10 power dice just to throw out every turn, even if you're not a very strong army. Like,
Yeah.
and then you're to be honest, the last one is a toss up between Breaker of Titans, Warp Forge Plate, which is a 2-up, just flat normal armor save.
Yep.
And Beyond Death, I would think.
Yeah, Beyond Death is pretty damn good. There's just a lot that's pretty good. I won't lie. You know.
In those large scale games, though, you know, if
Yeah.
you get Beyond Death and you come back and you have Breaker of Titans, and I'm talking a large game, you know, you got your like APOC size kind of games. That guy is coming back. He can go straight after another Titan and destroy it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He's got Parting the Veil, so he just shows up in one of the portals, just like that.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we also have Torrent of Unreality, Hellstorm, Strength 6, AP 4, Assault 1, Soul Blaze.
I don't know why they're not AP3, to be honest.
Yeah, it probably should be, but
Should be an AP3.
yeah, it's okay.
How many people will take that? Who knows, right? But next up is Warp Bust. A model with this option may attack during the Shroon phase using the following profile: 24 range, Strength 8, AP 4, Assault 1, Massive Blast 7-inch. High strength.
Yeah.
Maybe you can catch some vehicles with it. Put
It's
a couple
pretty
hull
good.
points. Maybe some unlucky rolls, I should say. Some bad rolls on the opponent's side.
Yeah.
And maybe auto kill some guys with that strength 8.
Yeah.
Ren Time and Space. Model with this option may end any of their own player turns. Place an additional Warp Rift marker anywhere within 2 inches of the model's base. This new Warp Rift marker may not be placed in dangerous terrain, difficult terrain, etc., just like the other ones. And can't be within 6 inches of another rift or objective marker. And it may only be used once per game and may not be used while the Archdemon is locked in combat.
Not bad, honestly.
Call to arms, pretty much.
Yeah.
Drop a rift and then have more guys come out near you.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Not bad. It doesn't shine to me as like one of the better ones, like we mentioned the others before. But as you can see, a huge array of options to custom build these demons however you want. Like regardless of your play style, your model range that you own, anything you pretty much can think of, you can do, which is great.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's a very flavorful addition to create. You know, you've got your Forge World demons, the greater demons that they sell out there that fit kind of all these molds in one way or another. But on top of that, you do have a few options to kind of build your own demon and have it fit your theme and your army and your dominion, however you want to play, which is nice.
Yeah. Yeah, this is great. This really is good. Yeah. What else we got left here? Demonology. Some goodies here. There's a little bit touch base on using demonology in games of Horus Heresy. There is some summoning of demons, but they do lose Demons of the Ruinstorm, Tides of Madness, Parting of the Veil special rules. So these are like lesser kind of demons, more generic. They still have Demon and Fearless special rules. It does also have the Demonology Malefic powers posted in the back here. Some of them are not terrible, like your Primaris powers, Conjuration. Pretty much within 12 inches, you create a unit of 10 Ruinstorm lesser demons, or charge 3.
Pretty good.
Not bad. Not horror. Like honestly, to throw bodies on the board, not bad. Not bad at all. Cursed Earth, basically a blessing. All demons within 12 inches of the Psyker get +1 to their invulnerable save, which is awesome. That's pretty much, I think, current to like what the old rule was.
Yeah, that's right. And I think something to touch on here is that for the most part, demons cannot take this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this like Demonology Malefic specifically sections it out. Like example, the font of the warp for the greater archdemon we just talked about can take it. He can take powers from any discipline in the Horus Heresy Age of Darkness rulebook except Sanctic or Malefic Demonology, and then goes ahead tells you what you can do with Demonology. Yeah. But that applies to all of the Demon Ruinstorms. Like if you take the Tzeentch special rule, you do the Emanation upgrade. They all have that caveat that you can't take Demonology.
Yeah.
So
when building your list, make sure you pay close attention to all the little side notes on them because it does mention that.
Yeah, it's somewhat, I guess, more of like a update to what it is out there right now.
That's right. Yeah.
And it even says the demons that are summoned have the same allegiance of who summoned them. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they lose some stuff, like Bill mentioned earlier, but it clears things up, and it's good. It's a good update.
Yeah, I think this is more aimed towards the your trader legions that are wanting to start dabbling, word bearers, a couple of the other ones. Well, any of them that take their Psyker but can have access to some of this stuff, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, and I think we haven't really touched on it, but with the new consoles, I do believe there's another, because currently you could only do it with a Diabolist or Diabolist. Diabolist. But now there's another console that can take this as well, that can take Demonology. So this is a bit of an update to everyone that can be able to use those in all your trader lists, because loyalists don't dabble, right? Right, internet.
That's
loyalists
right.
don't dabble.
That's right. And if you say Thousand Sons are loyalists, get out of here right now.
We know Magnus did something wrong.
Yeah, he did. No, all in all, like I think the army list is, like we said at the beginning, crazy. There's a lot of different stuff in here. It's just, yeah.
Huge variety. A lot of options.
Yeah, it'll change the meta no matter where we're at. Just to round off some of the other psychic powers, Dark Flame. You've got Infernal Gaze. Those are familiar to the old style. Sacrifice. Pretty much you can create demons popping out. Incursion, more conjuring. But this one is for demon beasts or demon brutes. And then Possession. Similar to the old style where you're able to summon a greater demon. Or a Ruinstorm demon Shrike. Just lots of variety. It's going to add a lot of flavor. It's going to be great.
I think it's kind of... It's a little confusing because this is at the end of the demon section.
Yeah.
Demons can't use it. But what this applies to is it actually... Now when you're doing summoning, you summon based off of the Demons of the Ruinstorm units that you just went through in the book. No. So it's a little, sometimes a little counterintuitive because you can't use it with demons, but now when you are summoning, you summon the units that are now indicated in this in book 8.
Yes.
So that's how it kind of applies. So the wording has been changed to reference the new names. There hasn't been, from what I understand, there hasn't been a lot of power adjustment in the dice required to do it, but it does at least now reference properly for those who have done a lot of demon summoning in the past.
For sure. Oh, for sure.
So, general comments on the whole demon section of the book?
I'm excited. I want to get my Nurgle army ready.
Yeah, it's looking at the demons, and like I was a Khorne fan myself, but I'm starting to look at like the Slaanesh style army now. Just so fast, hit and run. I just love that kind of style, right? Even though White Scars are in there, and they pretty much are the same thing almost. Yeah. Don't quote me on that, but it's pretty neat. Like, you have so many different options, so many different ways of building your demon army, and again, it's just gonna be great seeing these armies flood the board and being able to play them and everything new coming out. It's great. I love it.
Yeah, I think they did a very good job at adjusting the way demons played in 7th edition and how they played previously to this book. Yeah. They have actually toned down the resilience of demons. Like, you don't have those 2-up, 3-up invulnerables that you had before. It's not as prolific. Yeah. The demons are tough. They're tough in their toughness and they're tough in their saves, but they're not unkillable. No. And I think what that'll create is it'll actually create really thematic type battles where you're gonna have to wade through hell to beat a demon army. Yeah. And I think that's cool. Thematically, I think we're excited because we get to throw demons at people and have all these monstrous creatures just crushing Marines left and right and center. But on the back end, there's real room there for some real storytelling and thematic games on top of that'll happen in that narrative with competitive play as well. Definitely. You have like your Paragon Blade captain and chapter, not chapter master anymore, but captain and named characters, killing demons, instant deathing demons left, right, and center, and demons just chewing up Marines. I think thematically it's exciting. It's exciting, and I think it's a good healthy change for the meta where it's at currently.
Yeah, totally agree on that.
Oh, for sure.
Totally.
For sure. That pretty much wraps up this episode of the Demons of the Ruinstorm army list. So thank you for joining us. Next episode, we're going to be going through the Bad Tabletop Gaming introduction video, just so you can get a little bit of a feel of all our team members. And we've also got battle reports coming down the pipe involving Centurion mode. If you're not familiar with Centurion mode, you'll see a little picture of it here. And hopefully it will inspire you to start checking out some of the other battle reports. They're really good. We've added some modified rules here and there just to switch it up a little bit. Those Centurion rules can be found from the Eye of Horus podcast, guys. There's links all over the web with different versions. I think there's 1 or 2 of them now popping out there. So definitely check those out. It adds a lot of different flair to the game. Some units that you normally wouldn't even look twice at in Centurion are like just insane. They're super good. Focusing primarily on infantry, walkers, speeders, stuff like that. Yeah, dreadnoughts. No transports, anything like that. So definitely stay tuned for episode 4 when we break into that. Thanks a lot, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.